All right, San Diego State and Wyoming coming up on Saturday. Now, Sean Lewis is a head coach. You coached against Wyoming in Boise, the famous Idaho Potato Bowl back in December of 2021. We talked about this recently with another game, maybe Central Michigan, going back years where there were 1,000 yards of total offense.
Yeah.
And one of those games. This was a game with more than that. This approached 1,200 yards of total offense.
Yeah.
Kent State had nearly 650 yards of total offense. You lost the game.
We did.
52-38. What do you remember about that bowl opportunity for Kent State in that day?
Obviously a great reward for a great season with a great team there, but it was the probably worst visually appealing college football game that's ever been played. Like if you find some footage of that, or if our viewers want to YouTube it and pull it up, like it doesn't take very long. Obviously it's there in Boise on the blue turf. And then we had a deal every single year at Kent. Like our kids love to wear the all gold banana suit uniform. So gold helmets, gold jerseys, gold pants. I hated them. So we made a deal that when we went to a bowl game that we could wear the all golds. Like that was the reward for a job well done. So, I remember having the conversation with the bowl representatives, and you're going through all the different, there it is, right?
Oh my goodness.
You're going through like kind of all your different requests. And I'm like, hey, like, whether we're home or we're away, like we got this deal. And so we got to wear our all golds. And then Wyoming ended up wearing like brown tops, yellow pants. It was just like, don't adjust your TV sets. This is an ugly looking game, but it was played, really, really competitive, by the kids, and a great opportunity.
Yeah. So Wyoming, it's such an interesting school, and for so many reasons. I mean, the area of the country, the population of the state they play in, the elevation of the town that the college is located in, the type of athletes they recruit. What can you say about kind of the overall identity of this Wyoming team or Wyoming teams in the past that you faced?
Yeah, well, I'm excited to get up there. I mean, I've never been to Wyoming, so eager to be there. Like never been in the state, period, let alone for a game or anything,
Same.
right? So to be able to experience, that part of the country is always fun, and kind of one of the benefits, obviously, of what we get to do and the places that we get to go. But you can really tell, obviously, the program that's been built and the identity of who they are. Strangely enough, it kind of reminds me of some of the Wisconsin teams that I played on, right? To where you have a great sense of pride in controlling the line of scrimmage, being physical in all three phases of the game, and relying upon your fronts, your run game, play action shots, disciplined defense, and all that shines through, right? And then they've been able to do a really good job, whether via the transfer portal or some other supplement areas where they get to down in Texas and everything, and really, having some difference makers that they're able to get there and showcase and again highlight within their schemes. So they know who they are, they're true to who they are, and obviously they got a really good formula for success that's stayed consistent all through the years, and I know that will continue to be the case. And they're obviously a great opponent that we get to go compete against and compete with this weekend.
I kind of appreciate the fact that you really don't make much of elevation. I mean, it kind of is what it is. You can't move the site of Laramie, Wyoming. Nope. It's the highest elevation in FBS football. Is it brought up in any form or fashion with the team? I know it's part of some of the preparation from like an athletic training perspective, but beyond that, is there anything that you make of it at all?
Again, like I kind of view and put elevation in the same category as weather, right? Like it is like we have these like perceptions or beliefs about this thing that we have no control over, right? Like, I mean, obviously we're blessed with unbelievable weather here, right? But the weather is just the weather, right? Like if it were to rain, it's still a choice to, I can go sing in the rain. Like that's all right. Like that's not a problem with anything, right? And again, like we get this opportunity to do what we love to do that, the kids have literally to this point in their lives, they've committed their lives to this craft, to go compete and to play this beautiful game and create opportunities and memories together. So yeah, this week it happens to be at 7,220 feet, if I'm not mistaken, right? And so, all right, that is something. That's something that's a piece of this game that, okay, how do we put a plan in place so that plays to our strengths? Okay, well, talk to really smart people. Talk to Coach Dutch. You guys have gone up there. You've played up there. Hey, we did this beet juice deal. Okay, hey, go to Patrick in the athletic training room. I'm hearing about beet juice, and that makes sense. It kind of jogged the memory of what we had done at Colorado when I was there. That what's the benefits of that? And Patrick ran through all the scientific benefits of it, and there's a whole lot of words that I didn't understand. I was like, okay, cool, let's do that. That's going to help us. He's like, yeah, it'll help negate whatever perceived disadvantage that there is. So we started on that protocol, and just like when you know that you're going to play a game where it's going to be hot and you got to hydrate, like, okay, hydrate. Like it just it is what it is. Don't make more of it than what it needs to be, and control what we can control. And let's go forward and do everything that we need to do throughout the course of the week to put ourselves in position to be successful.
Which units, offensively or defensively or both, do you think you're going to have to lean on the most to get a W up at Wyoming?
I think it's both our fronts, right? I think they're really strong along their offensive line of scrimmage. And again, with the advantage that they have of creating an extra hat with the quarterback run game, our defensive front needs to be really, really solid. And then again, I think some of their best players defensively, their Mike linebacker is, the heart that really drives it and makes it go. And he does a nice job running sideline to sideline, but then both of their edges are really dynamic players as well. So we got to be firm at the line of scrimmage, and we got to win that battle in the trenches to put ourselves in position to have success and to come home with a dub going into that bye week.
Yeah, on the other side of this game, like you mentioned, it's your second bye week. You had a 3-game stretch, a bye. You have another 3-game stretch, then a bye. Will anything change with how you approach that second bye that you're about to enter after this game?
We'll take a deeper dive because we have a bigger sample set into our own self-evaluation and self-scout to know who we are. And then we got to do a great job as we come out of the bye. Obviously, we play Washington State on a traditional week, but then Boise on a short week. So we'll do some advanced prep for those opponents because of the shortened week that we have going into Boise, so that we can prepare and be ready and have those plans in place as we transition into that shortened 6-day week.
How far ahead can you get on scouting reports or game prep for some of these teams you have coming up in the next few weeks, just with bye weeks early in the season and some of the things that you guys have had just from a scheduling standpoint?
Yeah, I think there's some advantage to it right at this point. Again, we're going to be halfway through, and you have a 6-7 game sample size. So you got a good idea of who teams want to be and what they've developed into as the course of the year. And then obviously you got to do a great job as you get closer to those opponents, right? Like, okay, what has happened in the past week with all of it, right? As you build to it. But I think there's a fine line of having a good foundation that, of advanced scouting that you'll do, but then obviously dotting the I's, crossing the T's, going back to those notes that you had in the advanced scouting to what's actually happening in real time to piece that all together, to put together the best plan for these subsequent weeks that are coming in the second half of the season.
You're spending time on your team and your opponent week by week, but what do you just feel like cursory about the league in general right now, the Mountain West Conference?
Yeah, strong, right? I think that Boise and UNLV are doing an unbelievable job, right? Like the hay that UNLV is creating on special teams. You talk about an advantage. I saw some numbers in the analytics where their EPA on a special teams play is far and away number one in the country, right? So those kicking downs for UNLV with the number of block punts that they've had, or the ones that they've had returned for touchdowns as well in their return units has been exceptional. And then obviously, Gentry up at Boise State, like, in one half he puts up over 186 yards on 13 carries. Like, it's just, he's on pace to rewrite the record book. So, obviously you're aware of that. We got our own, opportunities here this week, and those are tomorrow's issues that I'll worry about when those times come.
I don't want to get too far ahead, because we're already doing it, but with the bye week, what do you like to see out of your group? Do you get the young guys scrimmaging? Do you give the older guys rest? Or are you trying to get, a game simulated moment somewhere along the 2 weeks off?
Yeah. We kind of look at each kid individually and what do they need for the success that we know that we're going to have for the second half of the season. Right. So, like a guy like Coop, who obviously a lot's been made about his workload and where he's at and, the amount of tread on his tires, like we'll shut him down. Like there's not a whole lot that he needs to do. Right. But then it's an opportunity for the younger guys then to step up, and we'll simulate some game situations, that you're talking about. We'll refine some of the concepts or issues maybe that we have within our concepts, right? And take some time early in the week for who we are and what we're about. And then towards the tail end of the week, we'll start leaning into and using some extra time to prepare for a really good opponent in Washington State that we have coming out of it, so that we have a couple more periods, a couple more scout opportunities to prepare and put ourselves in a good position to be successful there.
Final one from me. You mentioned the importance of the fronts on both sides of the football, but what else is important? Or, when you think about a key coming into this game to get out of Wyoming with a win, what else are you thinking about?
The turnover margin always comes to mind, right? Again, Danny has done an unbelievable job valuing the football and taking care of it. All of our ball carriers have done an unbelievable job with that as well. And then obviously our defense has been very opportunistic, right? The play that Lonnie made, down our boundary, that big interception that then turn around and we, convert into points. It's all interconnected, right? And the football is obviously so important. They named the game after it, so we better take care of it come Saturday.
Sean, we're looking forward to it. Laramie, Wyoming, San Diego State, and the University of Wyoming for the first time in 5 years to the day when they met in San Diego, and the first time in Laramie since 2016 when they met twice in 3 weeks at the War in 2016, including in the Mountain West Championship game. We will catch up with you post-game, and thanks for doing it as always.
Perfect, guys. Thank you. Go Aztecs.
All right, Sean Lewis, head coach of the Aztecs. For Rich Orenberger, I'm John Schaefer. Join us Saturday at 12:30. Pregame coverage begins at 10:30. You've been listening to The Sean Lewis Show on San Diego Sports 760.